Praise the Lord, everybody. Welcome to On Point, the number one Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America. Live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on any smart device at David G. Evans, the number one. So glad you've taken the time to join us once again as we are excited about the topics that we will hopefully you would want to discuss today. I want you to like and subscribe to us and share with anyone. Invite some of your friends to join this stimulating conversation as we seek to give you a biblical perspective on the things that are happening around you. That's regional, international, national events, those things that are close to your heart as regard to faith, kingdom, politics, sports, culture. We discuss just about everything here on Point, but we always do it from a biblical perspective. Give us a call right now, 866 743 8267. That's 866 743 8267. That's 866 74 Evans. Give us a call. A lot going on this week. Pastor Nick is away, and nothing's wrong. He's just taking a little rest and celebrating his anniversary. So we're looking forward to his return. If you can help me, I can't really hear myself in the microphone, in the headset. There we go. That's coming better. Very good. A lot going on in politics and sports and culture across the globe. Right now, we're dealing with an international glitch in the internet, in the social media, in all of the internet kind of things that are going on right now. I know banks were having a problem yesterday. Airlines were shut down. Don't know if there's been a whole lot of improvement. Checked with my bank twice yesterday. They were still unable to do certain processes that they do very naturally every day. I know most of you are up on this particular conversation. Of course, former President Trump there was an attempted assassination, and of course the Republican convention is underway right now, and surprisingly, this guy J.D. Vance is his vice presidential running mate. Maybe you can give us an opinion on that. Supreme Court has had some rulings. Presidents now have immunity for official acts. Now that is a very broad category. Exactly what is an official act, and who gauges whether it is official or not? Is it whim? Is it law? And if it is law, now that we have this Supreme Court that we have, is that law really going to stand up under scrutiny? States are allowed to ban homeless campsites. So my question is, you make a ruling, you say you're going to ban certain things, but my question is, where do they go? Historically, what happens in urban centers when the urban center decides that they're going to move the homeless people out of center city, they generally push them into other neighborhoods. And so the homeless problem is not eliminated, it's just shifted to other areas where people live, and people that did not buy their homes, plan their homes with a homeless problem in mind when they located there, suddenly are seeing people who are in the neighborhood residing in places that you never thought they were going to be. So, what is the alternative? Okay, you've made the rule that it's illegal to have a homeless site, but what do you do with those human beings? Or are we once again evaluating these people as less than human because they've hit on hard times? And a lot of people that are homeless, a good number of people that are homeless, are due to great shifts in their financial well-being. You see people losing everything because they were either heavily invested in the stock market, or there was a shift in real estate, or some other business calamity came along, and all of a sudden they didn't have what they had, and now they're homeless. You'd be amazed the number of people that were doing very well, that through sudden calamity, all of a sudden they were not. Government officials are now able to accept gifts after a service and not before. That's going to be spacious, because I remember there were times in the past when I've been to government situations and they were not allowed to receive honorariums. One of the things that I remember distinctly about my own journey was that when we were considering running for politics, when there was a seat available, and I went to see the powers that be regarding what that would entail, and they started telling me that my preaching honorariums would now be illegal, and I realized at that point that that's why a lot of people during a certain period of time, maybe 15, 20 years ago, were getting in trouble, were being arrested because they had stored up money in freezers and all, were getting paid under the table by their hosts, and ended up in trouble. And of course, there are thousands and thousands of politicians, so there must be a way that they have a system for themselves, and only some people get their hands spanked because they were didn't know what to do with the funds that they weren't supposed to get for their services in the first place. The Chevron decision was overturned, now allowing judges to limit government agencies' authority. So government has limited authority over agencies. All this seems to be just kind of taking us back to where there was no regulations for anything that helped billionaires become billionaires. Now, I have no problem with wealth, absolutely no problem with wealth at all. But I do think that capitalism without a conscience is what we're been heading towards, and what these types of legislative moves are really getting us in the arena of again, where capitalism needs impoverished people for capitalism to be successful. On the local front, Bob Menendez was found guilty on all counts. He had a bunch of stuff in his house, gold bars, cash, doing things that he wasn't supposed to do, supposedly. And let's see where he's been found guilty on every count. Now, Ron DeSantis is always in the news. He vetoes a bill that would make it easier for ex-cons to receive a cosmetology or barber license. Now, I'm not quite sure how these type of legislative minds work. So the whole point of a person becoming re-engaged in society, I thought, was to be productive. So why do you make it difficult for them to get jobs, get training that they may need? That up to now was a pretty easy route, because if you do have a record and you come out of prison and you start a business, the background checks and all that other stuff are not nearly as stringent as if you were working for someone else. So once again, we're seeing a very subtle hurdle, very real but subtle hurdle. If you don't understand the nuances of legislation, you're watching it become harder for a person who has paid their debt to society. And I get the whole pay your debt to society, but at some point, if the person's going to be productive, if they've been nonviolent, aren't they due, not deserve, due the same constitutional rights and opportunities as other people do? I'm not sure what's happening. I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but I want to throw you to put the whole plate on the table so you can pick out what you want to talk about today. Louisiana public schools are now allowed. They're allowed to display the Ten Commandments. Oklahoma is now required to incorporate Bible lessons in their curriculum for grades 5 through 10. So Louisiana and Oklahoma are bringing back the commandments and biblical studies for their schools. Now, obviously, someone's going to protest this. We'll allow everything to be brought into the school except the Bible. The only time that I see this particular desire misused is when biblical context for a school is used to discriminate against those you don't want in your school or that you would possibly face in public school. And then, last but not least, and surely we can talk about some other thing, a judge pauses Biden's loan forgiveness program. Just pauses it because the Republican Party, and some of my friends are Republican, don't believe that those things should be forgiven. even though the system is designed to keep graduating students in debt for maybe 20 years of their life after they graduate. So I'm not sure why some kind of compromise can't be met. The debt is burgeoning. You can't keep up with the interest rate. You know, the compounding interest. It's virtually impossible unless you get a windfall um, or a unusually high-paying job where you can actually pay your loans off and live minimally. The other thing I think that is worth mentioning today. So I understand that there's continues to be this debate about minimum wage, and that there are actually some people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year that truly believe that $7 and change as a national average for minimum wage is adequate. Well, once again, you know, you're looking at people that have no rear view mirrors in their cars, nor in their lives, and they're watching people, and they need people to stay at this minimum wage to keep them at a poverty level so their profit margins are higher. Now, give me a call, 866-743-8267, 866-743-8267. The lines are beginning to line up. We've got Tom from Fort Lauderdale on the phone on line 1. Line 6 is lit. You can get in there and talk to us. We love to talk to you. This is On Point. I'm Bishop David G. Evans, and welcome to the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on any smart device at David G. Evans, the #1. I want to welcome our LinkedIn viewers and listeners once again. Welcome all of our Facebook followers, our Instagram people, our whatever platform you follow us on. Welcome once again to what we believe is the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America. Now, if you have never had the occasion to have this conversation with us, our biblical perspective is simply this. In the Bible, there are the sons of Issachar. And based upon that scripture, the Bible says that the sons of Issachar understood the times and knew what to do, which is why a lot of what they studied were the wisdom books of the Bible. Job, Psalm, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon. For us New Testament Christians, our New Testament wisdom book is the book of James. So they understood the times and knew what to do based upon biblical prophecy. And when I say biblical prophecy, those things that have been revealed at the time through the Word of God that are revealed to us right now, and that wisdom is ageless. God is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. He is not bracketed by time, so therefore you and I have the ability to go to the Word of God and understand the times we live in, but don't stop there. The Bible gives you direction so you know exactly how to behave and what to do. In this world of shifting times and shifting mores, shifting truths, quote unquote, shifting beliefs and shifting focus, we need the Word of God, which is consistent through time. Because God does not change, His Word does not change, His effectiveness does not change, His wisdom does not change. And because of that, you and I have the Word of God to help us navigate these very challenging times. You know that knowledge is constantly challenged by the time that you live. So knowledge is challenged every day of your life. And since that knowledge is challenged, you need to have knowledge which is eternal, relevant, absolutely effective. Because once you have knowledge, you can react to the times that you live. We've got Robin calling from Delaware on line 6, 866-743-8267, 866-743-8267. If you missed the intro to the program, we're talking about a wide variety, the assassination attempt on former president. What do you think about that? The power outage along the internet lines worldwide, how, trying to fix a patch at Google caused this international blackout, planes grounded, trains not moving. I mean, just banks not able to do anything but receive cash, not processing checks. All those types of things occurred. We want to hear what you have to say. We're going to Tom on line 1 from Fort Lauderdale. Hey, Tom, how you doing this morning?
Good morning, Bishop. Bishop, you got a lot on the plate this morning.
Yeah, man. There's so much going on. I just didn't want to limit the conversation, but I'm sure as usual, most of our callers know ahead of time what they want to bring to the table. What's on your mind today?
First, Bishop, you were talking about the power outage.
Yeah.
A third of the airlines was shut down worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
People couldn't get surgery done.
Mm-hmm.
It was all kind of things in that power outage. And the scary part was the company behind it was trying to fix something. They weren't being mischievous.
Yeah.
It was saying that the company has software to protect us.
Okay.
But they're so entrenched in so many companies
Mm-hmm.
that they could put a disaster up like this.
Yeah, it was amazing. I went to the bank yesterday, early in the day, and they said they were able to process cash deposits, but they weren't able to process check deposits. I went back later in the day, around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and they still were down. Do you have an update on where we are internationally with this problem?
No, Bishop. They were last I checked this morning before speaking to you. They're working it, but this could take a couple of days. And the reason we're saying is that they may get the big problem fixed, but the smaller problem would be companies will have to reboot their systems
Wow.
one by one to get back up online.
Wow.
And so they got a lot of things, going on out there.
Well, here's the other thing, Tom. What do you think about this, Tom? What do you think about this? So, this to me would be an indicator that there are some other alternatives that should be available. That totally going wireless probably has caused part of the problem, or left us a vulnerability that, in my own mind, I've been waiting for this kind of thing to happen. I've watched the cells for phone calls become overpopulated. There are more glitches. I've wondered when something like this would happen. I'm actually in the throes of an idea for a book that deals with this type of thing, based upon the fact that, there's going to be, at some point in history, a problem for people that, so much so that people that can read and write are going to be the chosen people.
Yeah, I think it's scary, Bishop. They were, even to the point where we have to diversify from not having one company run so much, because one oops can mess up so much stuff.
Mhm.
And
From what I understand, it was Google, right? Google, they were trying to fix it. They were trying to put a patch in, and
yeah, they were trying to patch something that would actually make it better.
mm-hmm.
So we couldn't get broken into, or to, they were trying to protect us, but a glitch happened. Somebody didn't write a program perfectly, and it shut the systems down.
Now I wonder what advantage the bandits are looking for right now in the midst of this. How they're going to try to sneak in and get in places they couldn't get into before, so that once it is up and going, they're already embedded in somebody's system.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it last thing you said.
I said I'm wondering, the bandits will probably see this as opportunity. And
oh yeah,
and when the system awakens, I wonder what corner they're going to be tugged into to wreak some more havoc or steal millions of dollars from various large organizations, because this it feels unprotected right now.
Yeah, Bishop, I'd be making that big money if I figured that one out.
You said
But,
something else. Go ahead. Yeah, man.
You said something too about the homeless.
Yeah.
Down here in Fort Lauderdale, I've seen things go from. They had this guy down at the beach. Can't remember his name. Made national news because he was feeding the homeless in the open. They, DeSantis, they shut this guy down.
Okay.
But he had so much gas, and he was rich. Oh yeah, this guy, old money. So, even, they arrested him, he posted bail. It made headlines, made 60 Minutes. So they backed off the guy.
Okay.
But when you talk about the things they do, downtown Fort Lauderdale was getting full of homeless.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They put in laws you could not feed the homeless in the outside. There's a big library down here, bus terminal, where people would feed homeless people.
Yeah.
Well, they made it a law. You could not feed anybody outside. Had to be in the indoors.
I remember pre-COVID, we were doing some mission work in Camden City, and they built a beautiful transportation center. And we went down there one year. It was new and it was, kept. And then we went down there the next year, and it had become, if you will, a place to live for a lot of homeless people. And the condition of the center was absolutely horrendous, and you literally couldn't go in there and stay in there. It was terrible.
Yeah, it's kind of, and I guess my point being is that they're shuttling them from point to point.
That's the point.
The laws are changing every 6 months.
Yeah.
Because they have one fix in, and they just migrate somewhere else. They put another, Band-Aid on it, and I don't know what the solution is going to be, but they go from point to point to point.
I know one of our local cities, Camden City, became a drop-off point. You literally see people bring folks from other states, other neighborhoods, suburban areas with problems and dropping them off in Camden City because they knew at least at one time they were trying to rectify or mediate the problem, but it became overwhelming.
Yeah. Bishop, when I was there in Jersey, my last job was for the Department of Commerce.
Okay.
And I had to deal with the homeless in our accounts. And I couldn't believe how many were in Camden.
Incredible.
In the homeless, in the parks.
Incredible.
They were in. It was amazing. And Bishop, I'm going to leave you with this one. Our ex-president, man, he talked some stuff. He said he was going to be a nice guy.
Did you believe that?
No. You know what? I was wondering how long it would take him to be his old, I'm going to cut you and everything else. He has not changed. This has not woke him up.
No, he's in the same mindset.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it was within the same speech that he flipped from "I'm this guy" to "I'm that guy who I used to be." It was amazing, and that's why it wasn't believable. But what bothers me is I know intelligent people whose intelligence I used to respect, who act as though they can't follow that line of thinking to a negative conclusion. No matter what he says, they've got an excuse for it.
Yeah, I don't want to call them friends. I have all associates.
You okay?
That I sit back and watch on Facebook and just look and see what they post and say.
I think it's fear-based, and I think I believe that we're hearing the hearts of people, truly hearing it. The Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So what we are watching is the biblical revelation of people's hearts, and they had us a little fooled, but now what the heart is full of, the mouth will release. So we're actually getting to understand, we're seeing now, we're hearing now what has been nestled in their hearts in abundance. And now it's flowing out, and of course it's rushing out. And oftentimes, people that I know, they don't sound logical anymore.
Yeah.
Tom, was good. How you been feeling, man? You doing all right?
Oh, doing good, Bishop. Weather's nice. Little hot.
Well, it's summertime, man. Come on,
but,
summertime.
just hopefully no hurricanes. That's all.
They can play all the Christmas in July they want to. It's hot outside.
Oh, man, it's burning up.
Take it easy, Tom.
Hey, take care.
All right, now,
All right.
866-743-8267. We've got Robin from Delaware. We've got Sharon from Dallas. We have a line or two open. You can give us a call, 866-743-8267, 866-743-8267, 866-74-EVANS. This is On Point, the number one Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, live every Saturday morning. Won't you like and subscribe to us? Hit that notification button and invite a few of your friends to join the conversation. We're having a great time this morning. Let's go to Robin from Delaware, then we're going to Sharon from Dallas. Hey, Robin, how you doing this morning?
Good morning, Bishop. You solo again.
Yeah, I'm flying alone. They trust me, you know.
You getting grown.
Yeah,
more and more, huh?
I'm getting grown.
I just have two, I say comments or questions, but
Okay.
regarding the assassination attempt on Trump,
Yeah.
well, ex-President Trump, I watched that video a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you noticed, he kept looking to the right the whole time,
Okay.
like where the person that was on the roof.
Okay.
But how did they notice that person? Would they say, was it 15 minutes or 20 minutes before that happened? I know a lot of people on social media saying they think that was a setup.
That you think they
What do you think when you watch that video, and then for them not to see, well, they saw the guy but didn't go up there to
Well,
get him?
the security part, and I'm not a professional in those areas, but just from the layman's point of view, it didn't make any sense to me. Now, they say that they didn't put anyone on that particular roof, but they were willing to have that roof be in their line of sight because of the incline on the roof that made it unsafe for their people, the security people, the FBI and whoever, to be on the roof, on that particular roof. But they did have that roof in their sight line, which is why they were probably able to kill the young man. But on the other hand, I'm sure that a roof with an incline, that's not a new problem, and I'm sure that they've been able to cover that. I don't know whether it was a budget issue or it didn't make sense to me. Someone died, which is very, very, very important. People were terrified. He got nicked on the ear. The Secret Service guys jumped in front of him when they realized there were shots fired. The young man, very troubled, obviously, very quiet. This was not a sudden impulse for him. His family is suffering. So it's just, there's so many moving parts on this, Robin. You seem to be lending towards a conspiracy type of thing?
Yeah, because, well, if it was black people, we would have ran when we heard shots.
Well, I think if you've ever been around gunfire, the uninitiated or those that have not been around it for a long time, the first reaction is turn to see what's going on. Then it takes a moment to realize that's not a firecracker, people are falling, somebody's shooting, I need to move. So it's, unless you're someone who has been in combat or you've been in street violence enough to be sensitive to those things, normal people's first reaction, Robin, is not to duck. People's first reaction is to turn and look. So that's normal. It's almost like when you're driving and an accident is about to happen and it doesn't really trigger at first a reaction. You kind of watch it and then it becomes more believable. It's a strange way that we our reflexes are contextually sensitive. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Our reflexes are contextual. What was the second thing you wanted to ask me?
Oh, yeah, regarding the glitch, whatever they want to call it, with the airlines and the banks and everything, I don't want to say a cyber attack or hack, but it was just too much. I mean, all the airlines, the banks, the tellers wasn't working because they couldn't get, anything. people couldn't open accounts. To me, I mean, I could be wrong, but to me, it's got to be more behind this. They're not going to let us know. What do you think?
Well, I think that, in a world of consideration, I think you'd have to consider that, that there was some cyber attack, okay? But to me, the biggest lesson about yesterday, I believe this started on Thursday, or was it Friday? It started Thursday. It was Thursday evening, right?
I think it was yesterday.
Yeah. So
I believe it was yesterday because some people couldn't get. One guy,
yeah.
I felt bad for him. He couldn't even get to the funeral he was going to.
Yeah.
People couldn't get to their reunion. But yeah, it's got to be more to it.
The biggest lesson for me is there is now no doubt that there's a vulnerability in the system that has worldwide impact that needs to be addressed, but they also need to find out, if they haven't already, what the origin was. Now, they're giving it a very simple explanation, as they were trying to put a patch on the system at Google, but then it shows us the dependence on Google worldwide, and how did Google get so, how did it permeate, or how did it saturate as widely as it did for this kind of thing to happen when one thing was happening? They were trying to do something right, improve the system, and shut the whole thing down. But it shows me vulnerability that people have been hoping silently never, ever happened. But it finally did. And I think there'll be some reaction to that.
Yeah,
All right.
Things is just crazy right now.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Bishop.
All right, Rob.
I hope to see you tomorrow.
All right. See you then now. Bye-bye.
All right, you have a blessed day. Love you.
Bye-bye. 866-743-8267. We're going to Sharon in Dallas. Hey, Sharon, how you doing this morning?
I'm fine. How you doing, Bishop?
All right. Welcome to On Point. What's on your mind today?
Okay, I got three things. You ready for me?
Go ahead.
Okay, number one, I'm getting them in order. With President Biden and the defectos and the Democratic, his ram. Now, do you remember when Nancy Pelosi went over there to, I think it was China?
Yes.
And she stirred up all that commotion over there, and they were shooting rockets and stuff.
Yeah.
And people were calling for her not to come, and Biden stood behind her.
Yeah.
You know what she did? Now they're all turning on him, and I'm riding with Biden.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah. I think that whoever's driving the bus, I'm wondering if, and since you brought up Nancy Pelosi, we'll bring it up. We'll talk about her for a second.
Okay.
Was I the only one noticed that she was not having every good day speaking to the public, and she was halting on her thoughts, and
I was with you. I saw it.
Okay.
And Brandon's doing the same thing versus in him.
Yeah. Here's my problem. I'm not nearly as old as them, and I can remember in my 30s going from one Florida house to another and getting to where my destination was and not remembering why I came there in the first place. I can remember not remembering family members' birth dates. I can remember, I know the difference in memory from when I probably knew a limitless number of phone numbers to the point now where technology has hampered my memory that I only know a few phone numbers versus the thousands I knew at one time.
Right,
So,
you had
so
to.
yeah, you had to. So I'm not so sure, that the Democrats are using their brains at all. It is too late to field another candidate. Absolutely too late to say, okay, guys, here it goes, take this one. And what I think is really behind all of this, and I may get some negative mail on this, what I think that's unspoken and negative behind all the suddenly you can't run, it's not his record.
Come on.
It's not his political acumen, because everybody admits he has it.
Right.
They say in a meeting he's still leading the meeting. He's still as strong as he's ever been. He's had a couple, and compared to the other guy, you're going to start comparing botched public speeches. We can't even talk about it. But here's the thing. I think the unspoken problem is that if something happens to Biden, that Kamala Harris will be the president of the United States. To me, that's the fly in the ointment. That's the hair in the soup. That is the problem. Nobody's talking about it. But the fact of the matter is that, do I think she could run the country? Absolutely. You know, if they think Trump can run the country, I certainly think in a much better way, someone with more experience in legalities, you know, being an attorney general for the biggest state in the union, having the largest budgets, everything, if anybody could. So I believe that's the undertone for it.
Everybody's talking about it.
Okay, so I just think that strategically, if this is how they felt, they should have started talking about this a year ago.
That's right.
But not in August, July and August, and elections when November?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. That's that one, and some more too. But listen, I was watching The View on yesterday, and I know you got this about Chris Christie, but this is what he insinuated. He insinuated that Obama, I always call him President Obama because he is my president. Obama encouraged George Clooney to post that in the New York Times about Joe Biden, and he didn't. He encouraged him to do it. So what do you think about it? I've been trying to.
I didn't hear anything about it. All I heard was that Clooney said something stupid.
That's what he said.
And here's my problem. And I'm ready to be corrected on this.
I am.
Do you have to go public with everything you think? And if you're concerned about the nation and the party, is now the time to start talking like this?
Right.
You know, when you're talking about competency, what competency did the former President Trump show us?
Oh, he lied so much.
Come on. You couldn't believe. They had to come up with something called alternate facts for him. You know, I mean, logic went clear out of the window. Intelligence seemed to have abandoned the nation. So I don't know about these celebrities who don't take into consideration the gravity of their statements. Wouldn't something tell you every now and then, you know what, maybe I need to call him on the phone directly and tell him how I feel, but you want attention so badly that you would put it up on social media? Is that it?
I agree. I'm just saying that it is too late for them to be doing all of this.
Come on, man.
And if they did want Hillary, what do you think they're going to do with our vice president? You know what I'm saying? It's like
Hillary.
I mean, they didn't want Hillary. She didn't win.
Well, yeah.
Let's talk about she was a W woman. Now, what do you think that they're going to do with Kamala?
Well, here's the problem for Democrats.
Okay.
They realized after the fact she would have made a better president. They may not have liked her at all.
Yeah, she would have.
But she did, you know, and there's a lot to be said about former President Clinton. But what better consigliere as it related to presidential politics could she have had? Because nobody says he wasn't a skillful politician. He'd have been her counselor. I think she'd have had a better presidency than the one that we had with the person who, quote unquote, defeated her. And I don't get it. Some of the characteristics that people didn't like about Mrs. Clinton, they admire in men.
Absolutely.
She's not a nice person. Well, really? When did that, she's not, really? Is that how you're measuring people's qualification for an office? When you don't like them, that's, she's not this, she's not that. But the characteristics in a man, they would admire those characteristics. It's simple. It's just simple.
Okay. And my last, I have a lot more, but I'm just going to stick with this because I know your phone's lighting up. Okay, the Supreme Court.
Yes.
And letting Trump get away with our
They need to rename that. They need to rename that court. I don't know what they're going to call it, but they shouldn't call it Supreme.
Okay, but listen to this. Biden is now trying to get limits on the Supreme Court. I think a lot of things that he's trying to do, they're trying to get him up out of there.
Absolutely. And I think the the liberal media is
Yes.
is adding to this foolishness.
Yes, I do believe that as well. I mean, every time you turn around, did you listen to Trump's speech the other night?
No,
Did you listen?
I'm not ashamed to say no. No,
Well,
I
it's
didn't.
okay. I did, and I gave him 15 minutes to talk. No, I gave him 30 minutes to talk about his ear
Okay.
and situation. And the next thing, he went off rogue. He said he wasn't going to talk about Biden. He wasn't going to talk about coming. That's what he did. He went just, the old Trump came alive, and it was like rambling the whole time and just talking about people. And from what I could understand, the majority of the people that were there were handpicked by him.
Okay.
And what's her name?
Yeah, I know who you mean. Dark hair lady.
Yeah, you know who I'm
Yeah,
talking
I know
about.
who you mean.
She supported him. She came out, and I wholeheartedly. But yet and still, she was on the campaign.
Haley. Haley, is that her name?
Haley.
Haley.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And his vice president that he had chosen by way of his son. A year ago, he was talking about how he was unfit and all these different things about him. Now all of a sudden, he's the best thing. He's the best tea in China. So I'm just saying.
You understand clearly what that's about, don't you, Sharon?
Explain.
That's about a thirst for power, a need to survive the cycle of politics, and the possibility of getting in office one day. That's
because
what.
he's so young and he's
That's what that's all about.
Right. I got you.
Haley did that flip flop because she's thinking of her aspirations, not the nation. She's thinking of her own political aspirations, and she realized in her party she can't oppose former President Trump at this time.
Well, I think she just killed all chances when she did that.
You would think so. You would think so. But what they really want is the nomination.
Of him.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, their own in the future.
Oh, okay. You're talking about the individual. Okay,
Yes.
I got
She wants her own nomination in the future. She wants to solidify her own position. She doesn't want to lose her local race. She's positioning herself. Why would you publicly embarrass yourself for any other reason?
Okay. And I'm going to say this and I'm going to go. Okay, I was listening to something at the church. Well, I went to church last night, and they were talking about the churches now need to come together, especially in the black community, and start a voter campaign to help, if they're Democrats, to help get Joe Biden elected. You got to choose between, do you want one or the other? And so they were saying that now churches need to get involved now because that's what we used to do. And the time now is needed.
Yeah, I believe you're right. Have you had any chance to read any part of Project 2025 yet?
Yes, all of it. I got appointed to be on that committee at our church.
Okay. Tell us what the committee summarize it for us, because what I read and what I'm reading is absolutely frightening.
Scary, and that's what it is. It's really and truly to wipe out all the gains that we have made over the years, and so underneath of all of it, it's a way to get, I'm gonna call it what it is, the blacks back under control. Because right now they have I forgot the name of the company. They have been working on this for the last. It started with the Tea Party, okay, and so they went underground, and they have been working on it ever since. So what it is, they're going to get rid of Social Security, all those things in the White House, in the government that neutralized and helped us get the things that we needed. They're gutting everything out. Social Security, I said, the rights for women, which they have done with Roe versus Wade, and they're not going to stop there because what they want to do is that the only way that you can get an abortion is the life of the mother. So if you've been raped or and I know this is hard on Saturday morning, but if you've been raped, incest, it doesn't matter. You're still going to have that baby.
Yeah.
So the things that we took for granted that we have now, they're gutting everything out. So it's like you got to go vote, period.
What did your committee?
I can send you some information if you need me to.
Yeah, because I'm reading it myself. Another part that really kind of blew me away was the attack on public education.
Right, getting rid of public education. You
Yeah,
can't, like all the things that we have to show about our slavery and how we got over here, they want all of that gone.
Well, no, I'm not talking just curriculum. I'm talking about the fact that they're going to require that all public school students take the entrance exam for the service, which will qualify them to be drafted in times of war. It just,
That was before. We had that. You remember back in the day, they had that. They were drafted, but they did more. We lost more men in the Vietnam War than any other because they came after all our black young boys.
Well, now they're going to make them take the exam at high school level. So that if conflict breaks out, they can draft.
Go.
Yes, they're going to go. And the kids that are in private school or quote unquote Christian schools will not be affected by this because they're not in public education. So if you're in a private school, you don't have to take the test. So you're not available to be drafted. But so now we can just start wars wherever we want because we've got all these kids in public schools that got to go to war.
Okay, I'm going to send you some things, and I'll call and get your number. I know you don't want to give it.
All right.
But let me tell you somebody else that you need to, and that's, you told me that was your son in ministry, Jamal Bryan. I don't know how he got my email address, but he sent me some information, and maybe it was because of Quinn, his auntie. He had sent me some information about it, and I posted on my Facebook page. But I really want you to, and he was at Friendship West.
Okay.
Last Wednesday.
Okay.
Wednesday night, he did a good job.
Did he do a good job?
But I really want you to talk to him, right, because he's really into it.
Yeah, he usually is.
He is. And but we need to pay attention to it and be proactive. And it's time now.
Yeah,
it really is.
We have to vote. We can't sit out.
Right. So we've got to get all the churches now to come out of their little eggshell and come out from behind those pulpits and get out there and start getting their members to the polls like we did years ago.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sharon. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 866-743-8267. We've got about 10 minutes left in the broadcast time. I'd love to talk to you. In the meantime, I want to remind you of a few things. The fourth Sunday of this month, we will be celebrating 34 years of ministry here in our church. We're going to have a tremendous day, 2 services that day, 11 a.m. service. Pastor Dwayne Freeman will be with us. 6 o'clock, Bishop Paul Sylvester Morton will be with us. We're looking for people to come from all over to help us celebrate 34 years in ministry here at Bethany Church. Only church I've ever pastored. That's the 28th of this month. It will be our pastoral anniversary. People are going to donate to the day, but most of all, we just need you to be a part of what God is going to do. Of course, tomorrow we're going to have service. Live service at 11 or 8 a.m. virtual service. You want to be a part of that. We'll tell you a little bit more before we go. Many of you, especially in this time when pastors are really not pastoring, you need someone to touch and agree with you in prayer on a variety of issues. I need you to pray. I need you to send your prayer requests to me at social. Send it to social at go2bethany.com. I need you to send that so that I can touch and agree with you in prayer, so our prayer ministry can touch and agree with you. We still believe, and we have reason to believe, in the power of prayer. Because God answers the prayers of his people. And we believe in prayer because God tells us that we can move heaven and earth, but we also agree with it because we've seen the results of prayer. What the old folks used to say, the worth of prayer. So if you want us to pray with you, send your prayer requests, your issue to social at go2bethany.com. We're going to go to line number 1, Derek from Camden. Good morning, Derek. How you doing? Hello, Derek. How you doing? Turn your device down in the background. We're feeding back a little bit.
I'm doing okay.
All right. How's it going? Talk to me.
My question to you is, if they do make Trump president, and if they make Trump president, how come he don't like black people?
Well, I just think like anyone else, people have their choices in life, and I believe based on the way you're raised, what you're told as a child, many times affects how you see people that are not like you. And a lot of times, it's very obvious that our former president, he's had lawsuits based on not wanting people of color in his buildings. So I think it's a matter of upbringing and exposure and how you're indoctrinated in life. So we have people that don't like other people, but this is the way I look at it. When I am prejudiced against a person because of their color, because of their race, I am telling God that I don't approve of the way he made them. So I'm disagreeing with the way God made a person if my problem with them is the color of their skin or the country they come from. That's what I believe, Derek. And we have no right to disapprove of the way God made an individual.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Okay. So a lot of times, anybody that is racially prejudiced is telling God, I don't approve of the way you made that person.
Oh, okay. Because, he don't like black people. He was talking about burning people and doing this to black people and all this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I just don't get it.
Well, we're in an environment now, Derek, where people don't seem to have a need to hide what has been in their hearts for a very long time. And it's coming out now, and it's almost accepted by a certain group of people that people speak this way. But those of us that are opposed to that have to speak up also and make sure that people understand that that's not the right mindset. It certainly is not the way a Christian's heart ought to work. Somebody claims to be a Christian, that kind of hate does not work. The Bible's clear about that. If you've got hate in your heart, then you've got an issue with God hearing your prayers. You've got an issue with your relationship with God, because hate is not supposed to be in the place where love is supposed to reside. That's just plain biblical fact. So Christians especially, and there's a lot of that now, where Christians are racist, and it's not biblically correct.
Okay.
Did I help you?
Yeah, you helped me a lot. Thank you, Bishop.
All right. Talk to you soon now.
All right.
Bye-bye. That was Derek from Camden. We're running up on 6 minutes now. I didn't know that the IRS had collected more than $1 billion in back taxes from millionaires in less than a year. Wow. Something's going on with this. There's something in the climate that I can see from a biblical perspective. Clearly, God has shown us this culture that we're in that's contextually called the last days. And when I say the last days, I don't mean time running out as it relates to tomorrow, but the last days as it relates to events, telling us clearly, showing us clearly that we're headed towards, watch this, culturally, we're headed towards a collision that's avoidable. That some of these apocalyptic prophecies based on things that are happening are bringing the apocalypse too close to the time that we live. It is my understanding that a lot of the problems that we are facing are problems that can be worked out, but it appears as though that those people that we have elected have kind of lost their way. And now politics is being fueled by fear and not by what's good for people and good for the nation. For instance, I've always believed that the homeless issue is only an issue because our government can't get together and solve the problem. I don't know how you can call yourself the richest nation in the world, the most technologically, arguably, the most technologically advanced nation in the world. I don't know how we can claim these number one positions in so many areas of life. And something as fundamental as feeding and housing people is a problem for us. It just makes no logical sense to me. We can get a man on the moon, but we can't figure out a housing issue. And we've got a housing agency which has billions of dollars. But it appears as though even that at times has a distorted idea of what reality really is. I believe in my heart that a lot of what we're facing could be solved if rational people were, if you will, driving the bus and making decisions that were good for the passenger and not just for holding a seat, staying in power, and basically hoping that the people that have elected them don't notice that the very people who sent them to the office are not being cared for. And I get we've got some differences of opinions about some things, but there are a few things we don't have to differ over. And that is securing the nation, making sure our borders are operating correctly, making sure the tax issue is fair. I don't think middle America and poor Americans ought to carry the tax burden for the nation, exclusive of those that, make billions of dollars. I think we should have a country where businesses can thrive if a person chooses to do that. I think that, people ought to be able to raise their kids and not feel as though each parent needs 5 jobs in order to, and I'm exaggerating, of course, just to make ends meet. I think a lot of these things can be solved if minds would come together. And then there's the complication that has been added, that there are Christians in the country who have forgotten the New Testament teachings of Jesus Christ, and we're not loving our neighbors. But perhaps we are loving them as we love ourselves, which means that I can't take any better care of you than I feel about myself. So it is really important for us to understand a lot of what we think are apocalyptic images and instances and events are things that can actually be solved if rational people would put people as the ultimate goal, the benefit of people as the ultimate goal, rather than individuals seeking power for no other reason than seeking power, and perhaps when we come out of office, we're wealthy. I think a lot of what is happening right now is that there's a distorted view of what should be and how politicians should represent us. Now, you can call me next week, tell me what you think about all that. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for our 11 a.m. worship service live in this room. You don't want to miss it. We're in a series on the Holy Spirit called The Unlimited You. You're going to enjoy it. If you missed the last 4 weeks, we actually took all the myth out of the reality, biblically, of witchcraft and showed the people what positions they're in and how they brought it into their homes and what the Bible says about how to our position over all principalities and powers. We want to invite you to our midweek services, our noonday Bible study on Wednesday, our 7 p.m. worship service Bible study on Wednesday evenings. I want to once again invite you to come to our anniversary celebration, the 28th of this month, 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. in the evening. If you need updates from us, news updates, BBC News, text BBC News to 28950. Spiritual inspiration, BBC Elevate to 28950. Don't forget, send me your prayer requests. I want to touch and agree with you in prayer. Send it to social at gotobethany.com and join us. Subscribe to us on our platforms, David G. Evans 1 and BBC of NJ on YouTube. And subscribe to DGEMS and our On Point podcast platforms. As always, I want to tell you, be strong, stay strong. Remember, faith acts like a thing is so, even when it's not so, that it might be so. God bless you. And I'll see you next time on Point.